Africa has some of the greatest mystical wonders ever found on this world, and some more that are yet to be discovered in this earth.
I have traveled far across the earth. I have been to many countries and to many places. And I can tell you, and dare anyone to contradict me, that the land known as South Africa contains the most mysteries that are to be found in this world.
Leaving us with tons of unanswered questions like, who really built these things? What were their purpose? Where did they get their raw materials from to build these mystical wonders? And are there any evidences of their origin? Also, were the ancient generation physically and intellectually superior to the present, that they had an unimaginable strength and advanced technology to build these things? Or maybe humans were not the only ones on this earth. Katt Williams begins with Egyptian pyramids in Giza.
No people built the pyramids. And if you look around the world, you see certain telltale things that let you know that advanced machinery was in usage. We like to believe that slaves are stronger. Slaves are weaker because they don't eat the right food and they live a terrible life. Your slave population is not smarter or in better condition. How many companies have done renovations on the White House? None of them have done enough renovation that they can claim it's their White House.
Katt argues that no matter how many companies have come to do renovations at the White House, none can stand to claim it's their White House. And it's the same way people who had lived among the pyramids for thousands of years need not claim that they built them.
Well, understand, we know enough now to understand that this was a complex. We've been led to believe that this is how much they worshipped their dead bodies. But the evidence doesn't show any of that. Like when you see inside, when they have those intricate carvings and paintings and stuff in gold and stuff, you have to remember this is in a windowless room, folks. There's no candle soot. There's no, it's clearly a power plant and built specifically for that location on this planet.
We now come to an interesting point. Katt Williams has pointed out that these pyramids were clearly not some tombs where Egyptian pharaohs were kept, mentioning these were ancient powerhouses. If so, then how are they powered?
The shape of a pyramid, especially the Giza pyramid, and we've been told by generations of archaeologists who have been fascinated and have done work on studying the Giza pyramid, that it was a generating device at one time, especially when it had the highly polished limestone on the outside. Can you imagine when the sunlight hit that? Thousands of tons of crystal granite inside of different varieties.
There's significant evidence suggesting that the pyramids were once covered by a flood. Nile River used to flow much closer to the pyramids than it does today. Satellite imagery and geological studies suggest that ancient channels of the Nile once brought water directly to the base of the pyramids. The pyramid's base is made out of conductive granite blocks that are filled with quartz crystals. The quartz has piezoelectric properties, meaning it is able to generate an electric charge when under pressure. The massive weight of the pyramid creates this constant pressure, therefore producing a continuous electric charge. The capstones, which are now missing, also played a crucial role in this energy system. They acted as the pyramid's transmitter, collecting and directing the energy produced and possibly transmitting it wirelessly.
When you come up on summer solstice, you will find this pattern of light that is every year on June 21st. You will have this same pattern at 12 o'clock
And they would
noon.
see that there live.
Well,
right?
not only see it, they would be collecting this light and returning it back to the apex as the power source of the city
Solar
of the ancient
energy?
time.
If you follow information about humankind, you find out that in all parts of history, people were coming to this region for their information and their knowledge. These were the highest of human civilization. Even Tesla says that this is where he came to get the information. But if you follow that information pathway, it leads you to this character called Thoth. The greatest trick is to make us believe that people back then were dumber, and that whole thing is a fallacy. But it's worth it for us to believe that.
Archaeologists have not even scraped the surface of this country. There are many, many things that wait patiently under the earth to be discovered. There are many, many things that wait to be studied. There are historical sites of great importance which have never been thoroughly studied by scientists all along the Cape seashore, starting from Port Elizabeth right up to Table Mountain and beyond. There are strange shapes on mountain sides, simulacra, rocks that resemble human faces, gigantic creations which seem to represent human beings of every race under the sun. These simulacra, some of them, show direct human intervention. They all have notches that represent eyes. Some even have got hollows where eyes should be. And what is interesting is that when the sun rises, it strikes the eye sockets of these huge images and shines through them. Ancient people were very, very observant. They were very, very great believers in symbols. They used to see shapes where we of these days see nothing. They used to see mystery where we of today see nothing but snarling rocks. And sometimes, like born artists, they used to enhance what they saw to make it clearer, to make it more mysterious. If they saw a rock shaped like a human face in profile, they would sometimes do things to that rock to make it more visible and more human.
This statement from Credo Muntua just goes on to emphasize what Katt Williams had said earlier, that the ancient people were not as dumb as we are made to believe they were. Neither are we smarter than they were. Because how did they come to make these human faces and shapes on the mountainsides? What tools did they use at the time, and what was the purpose? All these remain a mystery to this day. And if that's not enough, also in South Africa, we come to see how the ancient people were capable of creating dates and calendars out of rocks that were not even native to the area.
Now, according to the information that we got from an old shaman by the name of Baba Credo Muntua, some of you might have heard about him or met him, who was also, by the way, initiated in the very same calendar as a shaman, or as what we call as a Sanusi in 1936 at the age of 16. And according to him, the main purpose of the stone man was actually to receive energy from other ancient sites like Stonehenge, for instance, so that if he received the energy, he will transmit the energy into the two main calendar stones that acted as two vibrating plates, so that if one stands between these two rocks, it's like he's standing in the vortex of energy that spins from the ground straight up. That was his main purpose. If you were to stand here like before sunset today or yesterday, the sun will have risen from the east and it will have set right between that rock with a small tree and that one. That's the longest day of the year. Our summer solstice, 21st of December, that's the longest day of the year. right between there. But if you are standing here on the 22nd or 21st and 22nd of September, which is the equal length of day and night, our spring equinox, the sun again rises from that side and it sits right behind where the stone man or the stone woman was, right behind this pointy rock over here. But standing here on the 21st of June, which is the shortest day of the year, the sun will rise again from this side and it will sit right between these two rocks over here. As the seasons changes, then the movement of the shade also changes. That's why it's called the calendar. Whoever was using this calendar back then will mark or will write something as to when the shadow falls this way. We actually doing this kind of ceremony, or either we start planting, we start harvesting, and we start. That's why we sometimes call it a sundial or a calendar. The tip here, as the sun goes, this actually tip started and it climbed and it actually expanded this way, and the other hand it expands that way. But more in winter, the shadow starts from the other side at the bottom, doing the same. Now, from the aerial shot of this place, you can see that this place is a circle. This thing called a golden mean spiral, I don't know whether you know, which is a sacred geometry. Now, a golden mean spiral works with the ratio. Like, for instance, a sacred geometry. If you can take a circle this big, like your lens, you can only put 6 other circles of the same size around this, and this will be the 7th one, and still have got space to maneuver. That's how the ancient people will actually build their structures using the sacred geometry. They never used squares. If you look at stone circles around the world, you go to Google Maps and Google ancient stone circles, you'll find them scattered in like water lilies, if you have seen water lilies on top of it. But you see they're all like a big comb, equal size. That's your perfect sacred geometry or physical pie. You never go wrong with that on horizontal. Ask any person who can actually start a mine.
Now, that sums it up for this video. What do you guys think?